In the hustle and bustle of modern life, many of us find ourselves tangled in the threads of the past and the future. We dwell on what has been lost and worry about what may come, often forgetting the most crucial part of our existence, the present moment. This story is about a man named Rohan, whose life was consumed by regret and anxiety, until a chance encounter with a Buddhist monk showed him how to break free. Through wisdom passed down over centuries, Rohan would learn that true peace and happiness lie not in external circumstances but in the way we choose to live in the here and now. Rohan sat alone on a large rock atop a quiet mountain, gazing at the vast horizon. The wind blew gently around him, but he barely noticed. His mind was a whirlwind of sorrow and despair. It was as though the world had turned against him, and there was no escape. His life, once filled with hope and dreams, had crumbled before his eyes. Businesses had failed, relationships had shattered, and what remained was a man overwhelmed by the weight of his mistakes. Tears welled up in his eyes as he considered ending it all. He had come here to the mountaintop for a reason. He had come to find peace, but it wasn't the kind of peace one finds in quiet meditation or introspection. He had come here seeking an end to his suffering. As Rohan sat there, lost in his thoughts, a figure appeared in the distance. The figure was that of a Buddhist monk, walking slowly but steadily towards him. When the monk arrived, he noticed Rohan's distraught state and approached him with a calm demeanor. Without saying a word, the monk sat down next to Rohan, letting the silence settle between them for a moment. Finally, Rohan spoke, his voice trembling with frustration. "You must think I'm planning to jump off this cliff, don't you?" he said bitterly. "If that's the case, you're right. But what does it matter to you? It's my life, and I can do whatever I want with it." The monk listened patiently, his expression unchanged. "If you're still hesitating to take action, what good does it do to cry here?" he asked gently. Rohan's anger flared. "What do you know about it?" he snapped. "You don't understand anything. My life is ruined, and there's nothing left to live for." The monk, undeterred, asked Rohan a simple question. "Have you left everything behind?" he inquired. "Is there anything you've brought with you?" Rohan, his voice tinged with bitterness, responded, "I have nothing left. I've lost everything. What do I have to live for?" The monk nodded thoughtfully. "If that's the case, why are you carrying this burden on your shoulders?" he asked, pointing to Rohan's heavy heart. Rohan was taken aback. "What burden?" he asked, confused. "I have nothing left to carry." The monk, with quiet wisdom, explained, "Even your breath is burdened. A person who has truly lost everything, who has nothing left to lose, would not sit here crying. There's more to your pain than you realize. It is not the world that has failed you, but something within yourself." These words struck Rohan like a lightning bolt. He sat in stunned silence as the monk continued. "Have you ever looked within yourself to see how much weight you are carrying? How long do you plan to carry this burden? You are trapped by your own mind, burdened by past regrets and future fears. Let go of them. You don't need to carry them anymore." For the first time in what felt like forever, Rohan paused. He looked inward, searching for the truth behind his suffering. Was it really the failures of his business, the disappointments of his family, or was it something deeper? With a sudden surge of emotion, Rohan fell to his knees and clasped his hands in front of the monk. "Please," he said, tears streaming down his face. "Nobody has ever understood me like you do. Not even my family. They think I'm a failure, but you understand me." The monk smiled kindly. "I understand that you are carrying your own suffering, Rohan. But you must realize that the problem is not with your family, your business, or your circumstances. The problem lies within you." Rohan looked up, bewildered. "But where is the problem, then? If it's not with my family or my business, where do I go from here?" The monk replied, "The problem is with your mindset. You believe your happiness depends on external factors, your family, your success, your friends' achievements. But this is where you are mistaken. True happiness comes from within. Until you address the root of your suffering. Rohan's mind raced as the monk's words sank in. He had always believed that his worth was tied to his success and the approval of others. His business ventures, his family's expectations, even his friends' success, these were the things that determined his happiness. But what if he had been wrong all along? He began to speak again, his voice quiet but desperate. I wanted to make my family proud. I started my business to provide for them, to give them everything they needed. But I failed. And now they blame me. I've lost everything. My family, my home, my dignity. What am I supposed to do now? The monk listened carefully. Tell me more about this friend of yours, he said. Why does his success hurt you so much? Rohan clenched his fists. Because he always comes to my house and talks about how well his business is doing. He makes me feel small, like I'm nothing. He rubs it in my face. He has everything I wanted, and I've lost it all. The monk nodded slowly. So, your happiness depends on whether or not your friend is successful. If he succeeds, you feel bad because you have failed. Is that right? Rohan felt a wave of shame wash over him. Yes, he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. When he talks about his success, it makes me feel worthless. The monk's eyes twinkled with understanding. So your happiness is in his hands. You are letting his success define your worth. But this is not the way to live. Your happiness should not depend on others, Rohan. You must find your own peace, your own joy, regardless of what anyone else does. Rohan sat in silence, processing the monk's words. Slowly, he began to understand. It wasn't his friend's success that was causing his pain, it was his own attachment to the idea of success, his dependence on validation from others. He had been living his life for others, constantly seeking approval, rather than living for himself. The monk spoke again, this time with a gentle smile. You see, Rohan, the friend you envy is simply sharing his own journey. He has worked hard to achieve success, and now he is sharing his experience with you. You can either use that experience to inspire you, or let it create jealousy and pain. The choice is yours. Rohan felt a spark of realization. So, I should be grateful for his success, he asked, astonished by the thought. Yes, the monk replied. Be grateful for the lessons others have learned. Use their experiences to guide you, but do not let them determine your worth. Your value is not tied to what others think of you or what they achieve. With a newfound sense of clarity, Rohan asked, but what if I continue to fail? What if everything I try ends in disappointment? The monk's smile widened. Failure is not the end, Rohan. It is simply a part of the journey. Time always changes, and with it, your circumstances will change as well. Whether you are experiencing success or failure, remember that it is temporary. What matters is how you approach each moment. Focus on living fully in the present, and you will find peace. Before the monk left, he handed Rohan a small wooden box. This box contains a secret, the monk said. Keep it with you. Whenever you feel lost, whenever you feel like there is no way out, open it. Inside, you will find the strength to carry on. Rohan accepted the box with reverence, feeling a sense of hope stir within him for the first time in years. Rohan returned home, determined to change his mindset. He started anew, focusing on the present moment rather than dwelling on past mistakes or fearing future failures. Slowly but surely, his business began to flourish. With hard work and perseverance, he rebuilt what he had lost, and his family, once distant and disappointed, returned to him. For a time, life seemed perfect. Rohan had everything he had once dreamed of: success, happiness, and the love of his family. But, as the monk had predicted, life is never static. Trouble found its way back into Rohan's life when war broke out in his state, and his business was destroyed once again. He was forced to flee, losing his home, his fortune, and eventually, his family. Once again, Rohan found himself at a crossroads, facing hardships so great that he questioned the meaning of it all. His family was scattered, and he had no money or resources to care for them. Despair threatened to overwhelm him. In the depths of his suffering, Rohan remembered the small box given to him by the monk. He opened it, finding a note inside that read, "Your life can change for the better at any moment. You may be rich or poor, but with courage, you can accomplish anything." The words filled him with renewed hope. Rohan understood that life was constantly changing, but the key to surviving it was the strength to keep going. Armed with the wisdom of the monk and the lessons of his own experiences, Rohan began again, undeterred by his setbacks. As Rohan's story shows, life is a journey of ups and downs. But true happiness does not depend on our circumstances. It lies in our ability to embrace the present moment, to learn from our experiences, and to take responsibility for our own happiness. By letting go of attachments to the past and future, we can find peace, even in the most difficult times. Rohan's journey reminds us all that our worth is not determined by external factors, but by our inner strength and the choices we make each day. Just like Rohan, we can choose to live fully in the present, with courage and resilience, knowing that life will always change, and so can we.